This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
Hi, my name is Igor Kheifets, and this is The List Building Lifestyle, the only podcast which delivers cutting-edge conversion strategies from the online trenches straight to your earbuds. Download the transcript of today's episode and all future episodes at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. I also invite you to grab a free copy of the Wealthy List Builder Survival Guide at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com/survival. And now, once again, it's time to claim your list building lifestyle. Welcome back to another edition of the List Building Lifestyle with your host, Igor Kheifets. The number one reason MLMers switch from traditional marketing to internet marketing is to create duplication. Yeah, the magic D word. Incidentally, virtually anyone who promotes online business opportunities is looking for it too. But let's be honest, almost no one's got it. Nobody has duplication figured out. And those who do, they have only figured it out for themselves. They can't possibly show other people how to do it. Now, that's a huge problem. It's cancerous to our industry because it's probably the biggest reason for why so many discouraged souls are dragging their feet in the lonely hallways of online marketing without any results. The good news for you, a wise listener of the List Building Lifestyle, is that there is hope for you yet. I found the one person who's done an amazing job of showing struggling non-techies how to get more leads, more sales, and create real duplication in their business. Her name is Shannon Lavinia. She's the Booming Business Strategist. She runs the Booming Business Podcast and the Biz Boomers Academy. And I got her right here in the virtual studio. Shannon, welcome to the coffee shop.
Hey, thanks, Igor. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And this topic is definitely one that fires me up.
Oh, that's great because we're going to spend some time talking about it. And, speaking of which, let's just dive right in. Really, my biggest question is, why is it so hard for people to create duplication and, sometimes even like their first sign up? Why is it such a huge challenge?
The biggest problem that comes with network marketing is confusion. Honestly, if people are confused about something, then they find they're not going to be active in it, right? So if someone doesn't understand how to do something, or they've got a lot of questions swirling around in their mind, they just get stuck. And the biggest challenge that comes when someone is brand new to network marketing is, their question is, what do I say? How do I say it? What do I say if the person asks for more? And that can be very daunting to people because it's communication. And communication is actually one of, I would say, communication is the most profitable skill, which you've experienced with your podcast and your communication with your clients and your customers. And if people are not good communicators, or if they struggle with communication, then it's really hard for them to just go out and, there's that common saying in network marketing of, just go out and find people and talk to them. Well, to some people, that's terrifying. And they'll never do it. They just won't leave their house. And it isn't that they don't want to make money, or they don't have goals, or they don't love the company, or they don't love the products. It's just that they're literally terrified of talking to people. So reducing that actually can help a lot of people be more successful.
Yeah, I found it when I speak to my VIP clients and anyone I work with, one of the primary reasons why people approach us for traffic generation is just what you said. They are terrified of speaking to people. They are terrified of, making a warm list of friends and family. They are terrified of doing, hotel meetings, stuff like that, which of course, isn't productive. But, a lot of people do make good money literally doing the old fashioned, cold calls and other things. But, it's really difficult to open up to a stranger, right? And risk being rejected. Now, obviously, as somebody who figured duplication out and is now teaching it to other people, is that something you've always had figured out, or did you go through some trial and error, trying to build this system?
I kind of stumbled upon it because, before I got into network marketing, I was a high school teacher. And as a high school teacher, I had to develop my communication skills. Obviously, I was dealing with teenagers, and I had to learn how to communicate with them in a way that got them to do the things I wanted them to do, like homework, study, show up for class, all the basics that none of us teenagers really want to do. And then when I got into network marketing, the first company that I got into, we generated leads with flyers, and then we were basically making cold calls to prospect these people. And I had a script. And then I would bring them to a conference call, thank goodness, because then, someone else was doing the explaining. And what I realized in that was, one, I was terrified of talking to people. So if I was on the phone with a prospect and they asked me a question I didn't know the answer to or something like that, I literally would hang up the phone. And I would hang up the phone because I had no idea what to say. And I was so afraid of saying the wrong thing and losing the sale because I really wanted to make money. I wanted my business to succeed. So, what I did was I practiced and I practiced and I practiced. And I finally got to the point where I just wasn't so attached to prospect and I wasn't so attached to saying the right thing or the wrong thing. And I got I started to make sales. In my first year, I made about $400,000 in personal income in that company, but it was a lot of that practicing. Then as I wanted to grow my business, I realized that most of the income I was making was coming from me. Like my team was not making sales. And then I was in a bit of an ethical dilemma because I was like, okay, I'm bringing these people into a business. And if they can't be successful, what am I doing this for anyways? So I decided to work with my people very, very closely. And that's how I uncovered what really their deepest, darkest fears were. And those were communicating to people and not knowing what to say and being afraid of saying the wrong thing. And I realized, what? We all have the same fear. So how can I overcome these fears for people? And in doing that, I was able to then start to get duplication. So as I worked so closely with my people, I was like, wow, now this person's duplicating. And we did ABC, and then the next person I repeated those same exacts with. And around that same time was when I was really transitioning from offline marketing to online marketing. And online marketing made it so much easier to get duplication than offline marketing because I was able to generate leads faster. I was able to put systems in place where, yes, they still had to talk to people, but what they had to talk to them about was so small and so structured and so scripted that really anybody could do it and not be afraid of it. So they just practiced a couple of times and the hang of it. And then they went out and they did it, but before when we were doing flyers and meetings and I was telling people, we were working on elevator pitches and, people are always asking me, what's your elevator pitch? And I'm like, I'm like terrified of people in an elevator. So I don't talk to people in an elevator. So it's just a different kind of reality. And I've been a top earner in the industry for 15 years. Kind of a little secret I just told everybody. I don't talk to people in elevators other than to smile or say hi. I don't pitch my business. I don't, find out about their life. I do the majority of that online. So out in public, I'm like with my family and I'm just doing the things that I'm doing. And it's not out there to talk to people, so to say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first I want to say that making $400,000 in your first year is incredible. I think I made, I lost like a good 2,000 in my first year. So making 400 in your first year, you definitely had it going on. But I can honestly admit that speaking to strangers in an elevator can be creepy. In fact, the other day I was going down in an elevator and I had this guy and I'm with my daughter and I have this guy and he's like, either he's stoned or drunk or something, but he's got that look, that cold-blooded, I'm gonna, X you sort of, look where something like that. And it was freaky. So I don't blame you for not speaking to strangers in an elevator. And, I was never really, I guess I'm fortunate to never having had to recruit any strangers in person. I mean, I sucked at it online. I literally harassed people on Facebook, but the only offline person that I ever recruited was my best friend. And that didn't go too well either. So anyway, what's the big secret then? How do you create duplication? Why do people struggle with it so much? And what's the thing they gotta fix in order to create duplication for themselves?
There's a couple of key elements that I do and in any opportunity that I'm with. The very first thing is to really define the exact system that I'm going to be using with my team. And the other thing is I'm going to give a little bit of a caveat to this because a lot of it does depend on the opportunity that somebody is with. Not every opportunity is set up to do this. And the opportunities that work the best are the ones that are the simplest. And I learned this myself because I got started with a company that is a great company. I mean, they have great products. I have ultimate respect for the owners of the company, but they have a ton of products. They're in the health and wellness industry. They have lots of getting started packs, and there was just too much going on. So when I would get people started, they would immediately already be overwhelmed with what there was. And if you can choose, if you're in a company like that and you can choose one product that you're going to run your business with, then this will work. But if you try to do it with like 85 different things, it's too much for the people. So when you're bringing someone new on board, one, you want to already have your system defined. So I have my system defined. It's very structured. When somebody gets started, they have 48 hours to go through my getting started training. And I actually do start people with their warm market. And I do it specifically because, one, I want to just burn through the warm market and see if there are any sales there. But even for the warm market, I have an online system to do it. I don't just leave people to their graces to go to their friends and family and talk to them, because 99% of the time they're going to screw up the conversation, or they're going to go and they're going to be so excited. And we've all had this experience. Maybe not, Igor, I don't know, but most of the people that I've talked to have had this experience where they've gone out on a first date with someone and the other person has been way too enthusiastic about that date. And you're like, whoa, dude.
Oh, you kidding me? I am the way too enthusiastic person. You kidding me? I was that obnoxious person nobody wanted to date the second time.
I would go out on first dates and I could see that the other person was like already like planning the wedding in their head. And I'm like, and they're like, oh, my mother would love you. And I'm like, whoa, let's put the brakes on this. But in network marketing, we can be that way because we're so excited about what we just got started with. And we expect everyone else to be as excited as we are. And when we go to talk to them and they're not, it kind of breaks our heart a bit and it sets us back. So even with warm market, I have a very specific text message and email they send out. Then I have a very specific video they follow it up with. Then I have a second video they follow it up with. Then we do a 3-way call. So the person literally, if they talk to them, maybe they intro me. That's about it. We keep it to text and email, and it's all very structured, right? So even with that, it's very, very structured. Then when we get warm market set up, then we start talking about online marketing. And for that, I always have a very structured system set up, and I tell them exactly what to do. Here's the Facebook post you're going to put. Here's the website you're going to use. Here, the emails are already ready to go out for you. So my new person doesn't have to do any of that. And for traffic, of course, that's how we know each other, right? It's, in my viewpoint, it is a leader's responsibility, because you're going to be earning quite a bit off of these people if they are duplicating, to help them make those first sales. Now, I commit to my people. I help them make their first 2 sales. Then with those 2 people, I help those 2 people make their first 2. And we work it that way. Once they have those 6 people on their team, they're through my basic leadership training and they can rock and roll with this on their own. But it's so important to have that structured system in place. It's also very important to squash anybody who comes in and tries to divert or change your system. And that is, if I could give you a golden nugget, it's that, because people will come in and they'll look at your system and they'll say, well, what if I do this? Or I'm going to change the text message to this. Or, I don't want to use that video. I want to use that video. And what I will always say to them is, look, until you make more money than me, do it the way I do it, or don't work with me. And that's the option. And if they are gung-ho, they have to do it their own way, unless they do make more money than me. And I sign up people who have made more money than me online. And I'm like, hey, dude, you don't follow my system. Don't follow my system. Come up with a better system. Like, let's do what we're going to do. But this is what's working for fast growth for me. And like in the company I'm with now, I signed up 12 people. Normally I go just flat out 100 people. I look to enroll 100 people. I signed up 12 people I went away for a week. I had a business event. I came back. Those 12 people had already turned into 68 people. In 7 weeks, those 12 people turned into over 300 people. And that's the power of using a system. And not only close to 300 people, but 6 levels deep in my organization. And that really is the true test of duplication, is how deep is your duplication going? And if your comp plan pays you matching bonuses on levels down and stuff like that, then you know that's really where the big money is going to come from, is those 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th levels, because exponentially you're going to have thousands and thousands of people on those levels, and that's going to make for a hefty check. So having systems in place for duplication are, in my opinion, the most important thing you can do in your business, because that's how you do get that retirement income. And that's how you hit the big months. You know, my husband and I, our biggest month in network marketing has been $214,000. And we didn't do that by making all 214,000. I thought I said 214. That would be kind of pathetic, but $214,000. And we didn't do that making all those sales ourselves.
Wow. Well, I want to go back to what you said, because you said something critically important. You said it's important to have a structure, right? So your system is very structured, and anytime you set out to recruit new people or join a new company, you always have a structure around which you work, a framework, if you will, that you're putting people through. And you know, it's critical to do something like that, because it eliminates the confusion, which is the number one thing that leads to procrastination online, in my opinion. Because people come in, they see all these potential, see all these options of what they could be doing. There's this traffic source and that traffic source. There's this company and that company. They all kind of look alike, but there's more top earners in this one than that one, and yada, yada, yada. There's so much choice. There's so many things that can confuse you, that when somebody comes in and says, look, I admit that there are a ton of different ways to make money, but here's a very structured approach, and you are now forced basically to follow this approach, or you can go and work with somebody else. And I think this approach is very, very smart. I remember when I used to coach people on how to build solid businesses, I tried to do the same thing, where I told them, look, you do it my way, or don't come consulting me at all. And because, like you said, there will be people who try to get out of it, if you will, the smart asses. But the 90% will appreciate you for putting a very structured systems in place, because you're just making their life so much easier. A life where there's so much choice, creating something that puts them in a framework is really, really useful, and gives them the peace of mind to actually do things.
It's very important. It's also very important to set deadlines for people, because if you don't set a deadline, I tell my people 48 hours to get through their getting started stuff. And if they're not going to do it within 48 hours, then I already know that I have somebody I don't necessarily want to invest my time with. Right? Because they're not willing to invest their time. The other thing in network marketing that as leaders we have to consider is a lot of people are coming to us with that employee mindset. And if we expect them to, just because they sign up and put their credit card on the line, to immediately have this magical shift in their brain where now they're in an entrepreneur mindset, it doesn't happen. So if you have too much freedom, too many choices, they honestly really don't know what to do. And when I got started in this industry, my leader said to me, you need to put 5,000 flyers out. Here's the flyer. Here's where you get them printed. Here's where you put them on the car. Here's the script to call them. Here's the call that you send them to. It was very structured. And I had been in an opportunity before that where there was no structure. And, it was a nutritional company, and I was like, oh, well, I'll go set up a booth at a gym. And I did, and nobody bought anything, and it was absolutely miserable. And, I didn't have any success at all in that company versus the second company where my leader said, do this, 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 and this. Then I had a lot of success. And I didn't change the system until I was making the type of money that gave me the respect where I could go to him and say, hey, I want to do this. Now, back in 2003, online marketing was kind of unheard of. So when I said I wanted to do online marketing, everybody thought I had lost my mind. And I was like, okay, but if I do this, I know that I need to control it with my team. Otherwise, they're going to go crazy. And it's the same thing now. There are so many different people selling so many different courses. In your industry, in the solo ad industry, there are a lot of scumbags. And there's people that will sell robot traffic and sell, and resell the same traffic over and over and over again to the same people in the same business. So what I do is I vet people for my team, and I only recommend people that I work with. So I'm willing to put my money down first and test it so that my new person doesn't have the experience where they buy $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 in traffic or solo ads or Facebook ads or whatever, and they lose that money, right? So I'll do the solo ads. I'll make sure the pages convert. I'll make sure I make sales from it. And then it gets put into my system for my team to choose. But even then, I limit the choices to 3, always. 3 at a time. That's all they get. It'll be like 1 solo ad vendor, 1 Facebook ad campaign, and then something else in there. 3 choices that they can run with. No more. Otherwise, it becomes overwhelming and they really don't know what to start with. And over time, they're going to develop the entrepreneur mindset, but it doesn't magically happen the day they get started. You have to control your new people as though you're the boss and they're working for you, because quite frankly, they are. And yes, they paid you for a product. Yes, they paid you for a business, but what they really are paying you for as their leader is your coaching, your mentorship, and your system that's going to help them be successful.
What you mentioned here, besides limiting the choices and having more control over what you give and what you allow your downline to do, the other thing you mentioned is, which is kind of something you have to see and read between the lines, is you walk the talk. Now, this is one of the most important leadership qualities you can actually have when you're trying to build a team, is you are actually doing everything you're asking your team to do, and that creates an incredible amount of credibility, and it just allows your downline to look up at you, if you will, right? And say, okay, I can trust this person. I'm willing to put my life on the line, because sometimes that's how it feels, right? It's not just about the money. We're actually trusting our lives, putting our lives in the hands of the leaders we follow. I'm willing to do that because she walks the talk.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reality in our business is people are watching you and they're going to want to do what you're doing. So, you can't do online marketing and then have your people come in and tell them to go prospect people at coffee shops. It doesn't work, because one of the reasons they're getting started is they're excited about the way that they got started, and they can see themselves doing the same exact thing. And that right there is also a key to duplication. Is it's a question that people are asking themselves when they're getting started. Can I do this? Can I do this? And in my opinion, it's one of the biggest problems with things like home meetings. I've gone to presentations. I've been recruited by so many companies, or attempted to be recruited. And I love our industry. I mean, I'm on auto ship from like 10 different companies. There's always a box of something showing up at my door, right? But it doesn't mean that I'm going to build that opportunity. And the primary reason I don't choose certain companies to work with is because I'm asking, is this something I'm going to want to do? Is this something I can do? I am an awesome online marketer. I'm an amazing prospector. I literally would suck at home meetings. If somebody came late when I was about to start, I would lose it. So it's just not my thing. And I don't want to drive all around town to my new people's houses doing their home meetings. Like, I just don't want to do that. So when you think about what you're doing and how you're growing your team, you also want to consider that your prospects are sitting there thinking, can I do this? Or do I want to do this? And that is some of the mental breakdown. Like, people get started with me right now. I have a gal who got started with me. She was with a company for 2.5 years, had no success, was really working hard, started working with me, made $900 her first week. And she, when she came to me, she was like, this is so easy, because she just knew exactly what to do. And when she was looking at it, she was like, I can totally do this. And I was like, yeah, you totally can. And she had the belief and I had the belief, and your people have to believe that they can be successful at what you're doing. And you have to eliminate the confusion that stalls them and causes inactivity. And the other thing I'll say is, if you have a product that requires a lot of selling, telling, and explaining, you're screwed. And excuse my French there, but you are, like, because that is the hardest thing to teach people, is how to sell. And if your people have to sell the product, you're not going to get the duplication the way that you want to get it. It's just not going to happen. And I see that with nutritional companies and weight loss companies, where they're trying to, tell the person why this vitamin's better than that vitamin, or why the person even needs vitamins, or what the ingredients are and what the ingredients are for. It's like, who cares? If your people have to do that, it's not going to grow. If you have a product that is sexy and hot and it doesn't require selling, telling, or explaining, because people, your prospects can just get it, then you're going to win. And if your system is so simple that people look at it and they're like, wow, I could totally do this, I could see myself making money doing this, they're going to get started in droves, and you're going to have so much growth so fast, you won't even know what to do with it. And that is the most exciting moment, when you're just signing up person after person after person, and you see your new person, who's been with, I've got someone getting started today who's been with the company for 5.5 years. And they were still biting the dream of, like, I know I can turn this around. And I talked to them and I said, look, I'm a dynamo. Like, I am, and not to brag about myself, but like, I have made millions and millions of dollars online, and I could not be successful in the company you're in. And they were like, what? And I just gave them 3 reasons. I was like, you don't have a system. You're out there trying to do it all your own. You're meeting with people one-on-one, and the person on the other side of the table is saying, I don't have the time for this. They're not going to get started. So, and after that, they were like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe I've been pushing it this hard. So sometimes at the end of the day, it's not you. You're not the reason you're not successful. It can be that you don't have a system, and you don't have maybe the best product in the world, and you don't have a way to get people started that they can easily duplicate. You want duplication from your end. Your new person wants duplication from their end. It's like a win-win both ways.
Yeah, I guess when, if you want to choose a winning product for duplication, you have to choose something that you can describe in a sentence. And for the person on the other side of that table, or on the other side of that Skype call, to go, tell me more. If that happens, then you probably have a good product that can work. But yeah, like you said, if you gotta literally go on a 60-minute presentation to just help the customer understand the hell does this thing do and why they need it, then you're gonna waste your time. Now, Shannon, there's only one question I believe on everyone's mind right now, and that is, how do I join Shannon's downline? So I mean, where can we? Because I want a system, I want duplication.
That is a great question. I love that question.
So why don't you walk us through it? Where can we go to find out more about you, about your academy, about your podcast? Give us all the links.
So there's a couple websites you can go to. The first one you want to go to join my downline and get started with me is bit.ly/income-pro. So bit.ly/income dash, make sure you got that dash in there, pro. And that's going to walk you through what I'm doing and how you get started. You'll actually get to see my system in play. And then it'll take you right through to the getting started instructions, and we get you rocking and rolling, like I've said several times on here, within 48 hours. And then you can hop on over to my website, which is my name, Shannon, with 2 N's, SHANNON, Lavenia, which is LAVENIA.com, ShannonLavenia.com. And definitely hop over there too, because I've got a ton of freebies on there. I've got an awesome guide on there. It's 124 pages. You can download the PDF, which is Marketing Basics to Pro. If you're a newbie to marketing, you definitely want to get that. And one of the things that I will say too, before we conclude here, Igor, is I absolutely love working with you. And if you guys haven't guessed already or read between the lines or whatever, of course, Igor is my solo ad provider. And he's the guy, and one of my people on one of our pages just got 60% opt-in rate. 60%. Like we were literally, I was at a meeting in Miami. We were celebrating you, Igor, at the bar.
Well, Igor Kheifets has now become the conversation at the dinner table. Not to brag or anything, but
It sure did. We were looking at the numbers and we were like 60%.
more than that, actually. Recently, and I believe that was before we ran the promotion for your friend, we actually installed a real-time email verification system on our squeeze pages. If your friend used our squeeze page, those 60% opt-ins that she got, all of them are 100% real verified email addresses. In other words, nobody can now enter an email into the squeeze page we built for our customers and get away with entering a fake email. You gotta enter a real one or it just won't work.
And that is absolutely incredible. And I don't know anybody else who does that in your niche.
Well, that's because nobody does that. Nobody.
Yeah, exactly. So, and when we do solo ads, we spend, my husband and I, we drop a nice chunk of change. But for our new people, we want to make sure if they're putting $100 or $200 or $300 or $400 on solo ads, that they're getting a return on that. And when we talk about duplication and online marketing, some leaders poo-poo it. They're like, no, don't go online. It's too confusing. And I 100% agree that it can be very confusing if you don't have a structured system in place. But, for duplication, it's like we give our people the link to Igor knowing they're going to get great leads. And then we back it up with a system those leads go through to convert them to sales. So important. Right? It's not just that a lead is coming and now they're going to have to prospect them and, take them to a conference call or something. You keep it very, very tight and aligned. And that's how you get those conversions. And then people see, wow, this works. How do they know it works? Because they're putting their credit card in. They're signing up. And they're like, wow, I literally just bought through this. This works.
We all need more people like you, Shannon, because you get the game. A lot of people come to us and they really see us as the silver bullet, right? Because they've been sold on the whole traffic is everything. But truth of the matter is, traffic is important, sure. I mean, it definitely plays a role in your whole system and setup. But, there's more work that needs to be done on the back end to convert a lead. Like, it's not difficult to get someone who's like, at least curious to look into what you got going on. But it's really, it's much harder to convert them. And a lot of people don't understand that because they haven't been taught the true way it works. And you know this truth because you started out and you worked with a mentor who basically had you closing people and talking to them on the phone, and you felt, and you've been a teacher. I mean, to close a teenager, quote unquote, close a teenager is really difficult. It's probably way more difficult than closing the most skeptical prospect because they're so rowdy. But yeah, so you get the game, and the more leaders understand this game, the higher the success rate will be in our community. So with that said, once again, guys, if you would like to see Shannon's system in play and or join Shannon in business, you go to bit.ly. That's bit.ly/income-pro. That's bit.ly/income-pro to join Shannon's system. And if you're looking to find out more about Shannon, just in general, to look into what she got going on and just get some freebies, you can visit her, we call them authority site, right? You can visit Shannon's authority site at shannonlavinia.com, right?
Yes, exactly. What a great conversation we've had, Igor. I've absolutely loved every minute of this.
Well, you may be invited for another episode. Just don't get too excited. That's all I'm saying. Alrighty,
but
cool.
You're the one who gets really excited.
Well, because I don't get to talk to people who get the game. Every now and again, I get a really smart guest who walks the talk, who cares about his people, or her people, and who basically comes in with really good advice. But sometimes it's really hard. I can go for months and months trying to get a great guest for the show and fail miserably because most quote unquote leaders out there, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. A lot of them just strike gold accidentally and they can't reverse engineer what the hell happened. So when they go out claiming they figured out duplication, or when they go out saying, hey, I got this amazing system, which is something they literally slept together in like a lazy afternoon, and then they make more money actually selling the damn system than with their business opportunity. It's like, you know what, it just doesn't make any sense. So whenever I talk to somebody who truly walks the talk, who truly gets the game, who is a veteran in the business, and who really cares about the kind of content they put out and the kind of results they get for their people, it honestly is a true pleasure, Shannon. A true pleasure, and it's so refreshing to have such a conversation. So thank you for doing it.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for having me as a guest, and I will come out again anytime.
All right. Well, maybe we'll do an episode with you and John together. How about that? But that's just teasing.
Oh, that'll be fun. That will be a lot of fun.
All right, so I'll put that on my calendar. In the meanwhile, list builders, thank you so much for tuning in. This was Shannon Lavinia. Again, you can go to shannonlavinia.com for more information. And until next time we chat, have a good one. Thank you for listening to The List Building Lifestyle. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes or Google Play to never miss an episode. Because who knows, just one conversion tactic we share on the show might double your list and double your business. Download the transcript of today's episode and all future episodes at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. And don't forget to claim your complimentary copy of the Wealthy List Builder Survival Guide at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com/survival. This is Igor Kheifets, and until next time we talk, have a good one.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.